It was so nice to just kind of chill poolside. My husband and I ordered some bucket drinks. So I was laid back in the sun, honey, relaxing, getting all that vitamin D. That was really great. So my family and I just got back from Disney, and while it's fresh on my brain, I wanted to kind of give you a recap what I felt about our Disney experience. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about where we stayed, what parks we went to, my thoughts on Genie Plus, how to plan a trip, like a multi-generational trip since my parents went. Of course, my husband and I and my children went, especially planning and using Genie Plus with like a larger group. And also my overall pros and cons, because it did feel like a completely different experience than any of our prior experiences, and also how much it cost. So that's what I'll be talking about today. I'm so excited. I was excited to do this video, but before we dive in, let me just give you a brief history on me and Disney. Thankfully, I grew up going to the parks twice. As a kid, we lived far when I was a kid. I lived in Pennsylvania. And so we went once when I was 9 and then again when I was 14. And I remember those trips. It honestly feels like a completely different place than it was when I was a kid. And of course it should be, I guess, because it's what, a 25, almost 30-year difference. So I have been to Disney with my kids a couple of times. Zara's first time was when she was 1 and I was pregnant with Ava. And then we went again in 2017. Ava was 2 and Zara was 5. And this was our first time back post-COVID. And now my oldest, Zara, is 10 and Ava is 7, almost 8. So, you know, I just felt like it was a good time. Usually I plan my trips well in advance because there's so many of us, but this trip was kind of planned within a couple of weeks, like a month, really, to be honest. We kept going back and forth if we were gonna go or not, and we finally decided last minute that we were gonna go to the resort that I booked. But I literally bought the Disney tickets a couple of days before we left, and that was a different process as well. So before I dig into the Disney part of it, let me share with you where I stayed. We stayed at the Grove Resort and Water Park. It's a new area to me in Orlando that I've never been to, because we've been to Orlando several times, even outside of going to Disney and before kids, because my husband's family reunion would be there a lot of times. It was a new area to me for Orlando, and it was kind of like a newer area. There's not much built around there, but it didn't take long at all to get to Disney. It was about a 15-minute drive, maybe 20 minutes to Epcot, and maybe 10-15 to Animal Kingdom. And it was nice. The resort itself is beautiful. The room, it was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath suite with a full kitchenette. It was pretty clean. I mean, I go in and clean anyway. And since it's post-COVID, I'm even cleaning more. So I go in and really deep clean it before we move our stuff in. But it was very, very spacious. It was a pull-out couch. It had a little balcony. Like I said, it was 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. 1 bedroom had a king size, 1 bedroom had a queen size. It sleeps 6 people comfortably. Last time we went to Disney, we actually stayed on Disney property, but this time, like I said, it was last minute, so we just booked this. I found a really great deal on Groupon for this, which was really the selling point for me, was that it had a huge water park associated with your stay that is on the property. And so the kids can just go and enjoy the water park for the days that we didn't go to the parks. I mean, it was really nice. They had a great time. It was definitely worth the money. You didn't have to pay extra for the water park, but you did have to pay like a resort fee when I got there that I was unaware of when I booked it through Groupon. So I mean, it's probably better to just book it through the website, because at least you would know about any of those fees ahead of time. But when you're booking through Groupon, it's like, sometimes you just don't know. And I believe the resort fee was like $300 for the 6 nights that we stayed. So it wasn't horrible, you know. But again, I really liked the resort. I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5. A few things that I did not like about the resort were the washcloths and towels. They were extremely hard. I mean, very, very hard. And the sheets were very uncomfortable as well. Everything else was newer. So it just seemed like, to me, like the sheets, the towels, and the washcloths, and those are minor, I know. Some people don't care about that kind of stuff, but I do. But I would definitely give it like maybe 3.5 out of 5, okay? But again, it's great, great, great for kids. I would recommend it definitely for families. So that's where we stayed. And what happened was I originally wanted to buy 2-day tickets with the park hopper, which means that you can go to multiple parks in one day. But I'm kind of glad I did not do that. It was just easier to just go to one park per day, especially now with Genie Plus and how that works. And also this is a multi-generational trip. So my parents were going. They, you know, I don't like to push them so much, or we can't go as fast as if it was just my husband and I and our kids. So with that in mind, it was just easier for us to go to one park per day. And so we just went to Animal Kingdom and Epcot because Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios were sold out. Now Disney has a new thing where you have to reserve what day you're going to go to the park so that they can control capacity. And I believe that has to do with COVID, of course, and also their new Genie Plus system. Okay, and I'll explain that to you guys too if you haven't heard. If you're not a Disney person, you probably wouldn't have heard that, or if you're not in the midst of planning a Disney trip. With their new system, you do have to reserve what day you're gonna go to the park and when. And so I could not get Magic Kingdom or Hollywood Studios, and that was kind of a bummer. We were kind of upset about that, but like I said, I did book for Animal Kingdom and for Epcot. And this worked out for us as well because my mom I rented her an electronic scooter for her, an ECV, so that she could sit down. She has like a little sunshade over it, and that was great. It was perfect because she really can't be in the sun like that, and walking around a lot is a lot because she's had her hip replaced and stuff. So it just worked out better for us to just go to one park per day. And the scooter rental company that I went through was great. If you guys want to hear any more detailed information about our trip, specifically more about the resort or specifically more about Genie Plus or anything like that, leave a comment down below because I'm kind of just gonna graze and go over everything kind of briefly. I like the scooter company we went through. Like I said, it was the only one that I could find that had the sunshade included on the scooter rental, and that we were able to transport it in and out of our SUV easily. It was pretty heavy though, but we were able to transport it. And so that was the reason why I went with that scooter company. And that's a tip too when you're planning multi-generational trips where there's generations on your trip. You want to make sure everybody's comfortable, including the elderly. You want to make sure they have enough water. You know, I planned for us to stop and get a snack and hydrate every 2 hours. But looking back, that was probably not enough for the hydration because we went in the heat of the summer, in the heat of July, and it was extremely hot. So I would recommend stopping every hour and making sure everybody hydrates. And when you go into the park, you are allowed to bring a small cooler, not an oversized cooler, not a cooler on wheels, just a small cooler like a backpack cooler or just something you can hold on your shoulder. And we were able to freeze bottles of water and bring that in, or you can bring in a refillable cup and you can go to any quick stop service place and they can give you ice water for free because the bottled water in Disney is expensive, $3.99 to be exact for a regular size bottle of water, and that is crazy. But we'll talk more about that when I talk and break down the costs. So those are the two parks that we went to, Animal Kingdom and Epcot. So when we first got there on day one, we kind of relaxed because we drove. I live in Georgia, for those that don't know, and it's only like a 7-hour drive for us. So it's definitely drivable. We don't ever fly into Orlando. We just drive. It's cheaper and it's not that bad of a drive. It's a nice drive. The first day that we got there, we kind of unpacked and relaxed. And then the next day we relaxed as well. It wasn't, and this was the first time we did it, and I really actually liked it a lot. Instead of like hardcore, okay, we're going to the parks, because I'm the type of person who rope drops, which means I get to the park before it opens. And so it was nice to like get there, unpack, and then the next day kind of relax and unwind and kind of rest up before the next day when we went to Disney. And when we staying at the Grove makes that easy. So what we did is we took the kids down to the water park. Like I said, they had the water slides and the lazy river. It was just so much fun. Like my husband and I had fun too. My parents didn't go to the water park because like I said, it was just too hot and they'd rather just stay in the condo, and that's what they did. And so we went down to the water park. Now you can't bring in any food or snacks. You're not supposed to, but I saw people doing it anyway. But you can bring bottled water with yourself, and you can order food if you want. You can order cocktails, you can order drinks. It was really nice. So that's what we did on the first day. We were down there most of the day, and then we came back to the room to get ready for our first day, which was at Animal Kingdom. Now I was a little nervous because I didn't know that much about the new Genie Plus service. So basically what happened is Disney replaced their free Fast Pass system, which meant you got Fast Passes for 3 rides every day of your stay, which meant, you know, you got to skip the line. Essentially, it's just skipping the line. You're not standing in long lines for 3 passes for the day. And after you use those 3 passes, you can always book more based on what was available. That was the old system pre-COVID. Fast forward to 2022, girl, and Disney is tripping. Okay, so they have this Genie service which helps you plan your day at Disney, okay, which was great. But if you really wanted to skip the lines and you really wanted to guarantee that you were gonna ride everything you want to ride, then they push you to get the Genie Plus. Now, I got the Genie Plus, and a lot of people said you don't need it for Animal Kingdom, but I wanted to get it because I did not want to stand in a 2-hour line. I just didn't want to stand in any lines, to be honest. And you're already spending so much to go to Disney. I totally understand if you don't want to shell out extra money to skip the lines, but you're already spending an arm and a leg. Why not, you know, ride all the rides you want to ride and not wait, like just waste the day standing in line by spending extra money. So my tip is, if you're gonna plan a trip to Disney, save a little extra, save a little more so that you're able to get the Genie Plus in order to skip the lines. Otherwise, you're just paying to have a Disney experience or walk around parks. And we came to ride, okay? So Genie Plus is expensive. It's $15 per person per day. So with tax, it was like right under $100. I think it was $95 for us to have the Genie Plus system for the day at Animal Kingdom. And that's how much it was again for the day at Epcot. So if you add that up for all 4 parks, that's close to $400 extra. You know, that really starts adding up. And I understand why people were so upset about this, because what was previously free, now you have to pay for. So what I did is I stayed up until midnight of that day that we're going into the park, and I immediately booked a Genie Plus. So I had all that set and ready. And then what they have on top of that, on top of paying for the $15 per person per day, if you want to do an individual Lightning Lane, pretty much like a fancy ride, you have to pay an additional fee. So that's not a part of Genie Plus. So in order for us to ride Flights of Passage, I had to pay an additional $11 per person for us to skip the line for that. I know, that sounds crazy now that I'm thinking about it. A lot of people either will just get the Genie Plus or just pay for the individual Lightning Lanes for the rides that you want to ride, because Animal Kingdom doesn't have that many rides, but they did have, you know, Flights of Passage, and so I paid an additional $11 per person for that. So when you add that up, okay, with tax, that's close to an additional $27, $28 per person, okay, for that day. And at $28 times 6, that's $168 for just the one day. Okay, that does not include any snacks or anything like that. Okay, so we get to the park right at rope drop. We got there, what, at 7:30? I want to say. We did not stay on Disney property because, to me, I don't think it's worth spending the money, extra money, to stay on Disney property, because all those extra perks that you used to get, like being able to book your fast passes, 60 days in advance and all that, all those perks went away. And to me, it's not worth spending the extra money, especially when I could spend a fraction of the cost and have this whole water park for my kids to go to when we go to the parks. I think that's the way to go. So anyway, we get to Animal Kingdom. Honey, I booked our first Lightning Lane right at 8:30. I booked our first individual Lightning Lane. I bought the app Flights of Passage, and then right at 7 a.m. I think at like 6:45 I got up, got myself together, got my phone at 6:45 a.m. And then at 6:50 I really wanted the Na'vi River ride in the Pandora section of Animal Kingdom. So right at 7 a.m. I booked that first Lightning Lane, so that is done. And that's the thing with this trip. I had to get up so early on the days that we went to the park. I had to get up at like 6:30 to get myself together and be on my phone on the My Disney Experience app. My Disney Experience app looks like this. And this is where you book everything. You book your Genie Plus, you book your individual Lightning Lanes, you could pay for it. This is where your tickets are. Everything is on your phone. So that's why I really couldn't vlog like I did it back in 2017, because I was on my phone the whole time. A lot of the times looking up to see if there was any more Lightning Lanes left. Every time we would use one Lightning Lane, I would get right back on there and book another one back to back to back. That was the plus for it. I mean, to me, Genie Plus was worth it because we did not stand in line for anything. Well, of course, you're paying for it too. We rode Na'vi River ride first thing when we got there. Then we paid for the individual Lightning Lane for Flights of Passage. Walked right on for that. Then we did the Kilimanjaro Safari. We walked right on for that with the Lightning Lane. Then we rode Expedition Everest, and we were able to ride that multiple times because it was down at one point. And anytime it's down and you have a Lightning Lane scheduled, they give you a free Lightning Lane that you can ride on any of the rides at any time you want to. So we used the Lightning Lane to ride Dinosaur, and then we rode Expedition Everest twice. And that was our day at Animal Kingdom. Now, Animal Kingdom, the food has gone way down. That's the other thing with Disney. The food has gone, the quality is just not there. It used to be really, really good. Everybody would rave about the Disney food, and we had really positive experiences with the food when we went back in 2017. But now, I mean, just like everything else with the cost and the cost going up and quality is just coming down, that was kind of our experience with food when it comes to Disney, especially in Animal Kingdom. Everything just wasn't good. First of all, every time we stopped for a snack, it was $50. I'm not kidding. It was a minimum $50, $60 for every single snack that we got, and it just wasn't good. But we did end up eating at the Rainforest Cafe inside of Animal Kingdom, and that was good. That was like the only meal that was good for the whole day, because we kind of ate a fast breakfast in our condo, and then we stopped and got coffee in Animal Kingdom, like in like a donut. That was good, but then everything else, the pizzeria place was horrible. The popcorn just wasn't good. Even the Dole Whip wasn't anything that like I was expecting. Like I just was expecting, you know, top tier, and it just wasn't there. Also with Disney, I felt like the cast members weren't as magical as I will say magical as they have been in the past. I know not everybody's happy with their jobs, and you can clearly tell that Disney is short-staffed, and so it just wasn't the same kind of happy place. You know, I'm used to the Chick-fil-A kind of service at Disney, like, oh my gosh, we're so happy to serve you. Thank you so much for coming, yay! And I didn't get that vibe. It was more like, I'm not gonna say McDonald's because that's really taking it to the next level. I will say it was more like Target on a bad day, you know? And so that kind of sucked a little bit, but it is what it is, you know? So that was Animal Kingdom. And then the next day we relaxed at the resort again. That was really great. It was so nice to just kind of chill poolside. My husband and I ordered some bucket drinks. So I was laid back in the sun, honey, relaxing, getting all that vitamin D. The girls were swimming all over the place, just making friends and riding down the slides. And we stayed in the lazy river for a long time, so it was nice. And they have a beautiful splash pad if you have younger kids. And so that's what we did the next day. And then the fourth day, we went to Epcot. And I was really nervous about Epcot because I wanted to make sure we rode their new ride, Guardians of the Galaxy. That was like the thing. That's the thing right now. And in order to ride Guardians of the Galaxy, you actually can't go to the park and just stand in line if you wanted to. You can't do that. You have to book a virtual queue. And virtual queues were all new to me. They did not have this in 2017. As a matter of fact, when we went in 2017, it just so happened to be the grand opening of Pandora. And so we actually rode Flight of Passage for the first time back in 2017 at the grand opening, and that was before they did virtual queues and stuff like that. So I had no idea how the virtual queues work because we've never gone to Hollywood Studios since like the Rise of the Resistance and all those other Star Wars rides have opened. So I was watching all these YouTube videos, and I'm gonna link them in the description box for the people that I felt really was helpful in order to get the queue. So basically what I had to do, you have to tell Genie Plus what you're interested in. And in order to get what you want, just pick one ride that you're interested in that you want to book right at 7 a.m. And for us, it was the Guardians of the Galaxy. And what I did also was I linked all of our accounts. So basically it's easier to have one person be the leader. One person book all of the lightning lanes. One person book all of your queue, put everybody in the queue. One person purchase all of the individual lightning lanes so that it's not all over the place. But Charles was connected through his My Disney Experience app. He had access to all of our tickets as well. And so right at 6:30, we both got up. He was on his phone. I had the world clock up on my laptop. I had my phone up and ready because I wanted us to get into the virtual queue for Guardians of the Galaxy. And Charles's job was to book our first lightning lane of Remy Ratatouille right as soon at 7 o'clock hit. So at 6:58, I'm starting to refresh, okay? Because it tells you how to join the queue, where you tap at on the app. But right at 7 o'clock, you gotta be right there to hit refresh and join the queue. And so it worked out perfectly. We were queue 12, I think. I was so early. We were queue 12. And then Charles was able to book the Remy Ratatouille lightning lane because those kind of sell out fast. Well, not sell out, but there's only a certain number of lightning lanes that they give out every day. And so if you don't book them, they'll be gone. Once they're gone, they're gone. That's how they're able to like kind of control the lines and control the crowd. I do feel like Disney kind of inflates the line wait time sometimes in order for people to purchase Disney Plus or the individual Lightning Lane, so that people just don't stand in the line, because they don't want you to stand in line. They want you to be out in the park spending your hard-earned coins on food and shopping, and you know, no, Disney never wants people standing in line for 3 hours. But I saw people stand in line, you know, especially for Flights of Passage. That line was like 2 hours. Anyway, that worked out great. We loved Guardians of the Galaxy so much that as soon as we were done riding in the queue, I purchased an individual Lightning Lane for us to ride it again that afternoon. Again, that adds up. I think that was $13 per person for us to do that. And so again, same thing with the snacks. The food was horrible at Epcot as well, especially for it to be the food and wine festival. I just was disappointed. The only thing that was good was what's the name of the restaurant? They sell really good burgers. I think it's called Cosmo. The name of the place is Connections Cafe. That was the best food at Epcot for us. And we didn't do any reservations. Now here's the thing. I was able to book us a reservation for dinner at Space 220 at Epcot. That's their latest restaurant that they recently opened, I think within the last year or two, where they take you up into space and you're supposed to feel like you're eating in outer space. It's like an immersive experience as you're eating. It looked amazing. I was so excited that I was able to book this last minute reservation like the day before we were going to Epcot. Here's the thing. Girl, I looked at that menu and saw it was a fixed price menu where you have to get an appetizer, entree, and dessert for $79 per person for the adults, and then $29 per person for the children. That would have been like a $400 meal. So I quickly canceled that reservation because I just didn't realize it was that expensive. I just wasn't expecting for it to be that. I knew it was gonna be like a higher end, but I didn't think it was gonna be that expensive. And the reviews were so mixed with the food that I'm like, if I'm gonna spend $79, it better be good. I mean, everybody needs to be giving it a 5-star. You know what I mean? So I know you're paying for the ambiance, but you still want good food, you know? And so we canceled that reservation. So I'm hoping maybe next time we'll do it. They do have like another option for Space 220 that's a little bit cheaper for lunch, but all of those were sold out. So I'm hoping to do that next time because I don't think I could see myself spending an additional $79 per person for a meal at Space 220. Okay, so that is what we did with the 2 parks. And then the rest of the days, we had 3 water park days and then 2 in Walt Disney World days. And then that was the 6 nights for us. And then we came home, we drove back home. And so let me talk about the cost. So for 2-day tickets for, let's see, 4 adults, 1 child under 9 and 1 child over 10, it was almost $1,600. Yeah. That's crazy to me. I don't remember spending that much. I remember it was that much with maybe for 4 days, maybe, but not for 2 days. 2-day tickets, that's how much it cost. On top of that, we spent an additional $150 or so, $130 for the individual Lightning Lane and the Genie Plus. So if you add that on to the ticket price, instead of the ticket price being $107 per person, it's more or less like $140 per person. So that's why I was saying, like, when you save to go to Disney, just add those extra fees in if you want to ride. Some people go to Disney and they don't really care about riding rides and they more or less want to, you know, meet the characters, even though you can use the Lightning Lanes to meet the characters as well, or just to walk around and shop and stuff like that. But we went to Disney and the girls are old enough now, they love to ride rides, and so I wanted to make sure we rode those rides. And so and I feel bad because a lot of people didn't even know. Some families that I talked to while I was there, they had no idea about the new roller coaster, Guardians of the Galaxy. They have no idea how Genie Plus works. You kind of have to be tech savvy. I don't want to intimidate anyone. It's not hard. It wasn't hard. You just have to kind of know what you're doing in order to make the most out of it. You don't want to spend the $15 and then only use it once. No, I used that Genie Plus for every single ride we rode. We walked right on. We rode, when we went to Epcot, again, we rode Guardians of the Galaxy twice. We rode Remy's Ratatouille, did not wait at all. Frozen Ever After, did not wait at all. Soarin' had no wait. What else did we ride? I think that was it. The only big attraction that we didn't get a chance to ride was Test Track because it was down for half the day and the line was just too long and there weren't any more Lightning Lanes for it. So to me, it was worth it because you didn't have to wait in line. We were able to just walk out the whole park in Epcot. 20,000 steps I did that day, and it was beautiful and everything. But again, you'd have to pay those extra fees in order to reap the benefits, in order to ride all the rides that they have to offer. I can only imagine how like Magic Kingdom is and Hollywood Studios is. I will say the plus too with Genie Plus is that, or pro to Genie Plus is that even though the parks were very crowded, it didn't feel that way because we were literally walking on everything. Another plus, right, I would say pro is the mobile order. You can order food from some of the quick service places from your phone, and then it'll tell you when to come back to get your food instead of like waiting in those long lines for a quick burger or chicken fingers and fries or something like that. It was almost like you order it virtually, you pay for it through your phone, and then you can come pick it up. It'll tell you when to come and pick it up. Or you tell it when you're on your way, and then it'll be ready by the time you get there and find a table. So even though we went in July and it was hot and crowded, that's like one of the most crowded times to go to Disney, it did not feel that way using Genie Plus. The other thing we did at Animal Kingdom, I forgot, we did the Festival of the Lion King show. That was really nice. And at Epcot, we did 2 shows too. We did the Belle Sing Along and we did the Pixar short films. The girls met tons of characters that they've never met before, which is, of course, they did Mickey and Minnie, but they also met Joy from Up and Vanellope from Wreck-It Ralph. So that was really cool. We had never saw those characters before. Ava loved it. They got their autographs and they just loved it so much. And you know, those were the pros to me for this Disney trip. Now the cons are that, first of all, I felt like I was on my phone a lot. It was hard to be in the moment when I'm trying to book these things all the time. I'm constantly looking at the tip board. That's what they have you do. They have you look at the tip board to see what's available. Keep refreshing. If you don't like the time you got, you can keep refreshing and book a different time. You know, their whole purpose of this was so that people could be more spontaneous in the parks instead of being on a rigid schedule. But for me, this was way more rigid. I would rather do all the pre-planning and know what my fast passes are gonna be before I get there so I don't have to be on my phone the whole time. Another huge con is the price, okay? The price is just astronomical. Disney has gone up in price, just like everything else. The food has gone up. The portion sizes are a lot smaller and the quality just wasn't there. The cast members didn't seem as happy in the past, where you just felt the magic. You felt the pixie dust in the air from Tinkerbell. I didn't feel no pixie dust, girl. People felt like they just kind of didn't want to be there, to be honest. Not everyone, I won't say everyone, but a lot of them. And they did seem like it was short-staffed. Some of the stuff seemed like, especially using the Genie Plus, seemed a little unorganized. I will say it was convenient to have your tickets and everything on the phone. They're kind of moving away from Magic Bands. I didn't see as many people with Magic Bands there. You either used a card, because you use your card that you got from your hotel if you were staying in the Disney Resort, or you just use your phone. Now they just launched the Magic Band Plus, which is like $35, where the Magic Band does all this extra stuff, but I don't think that that's worth it either. I did not buy Magic Bands because we were only going to the 2 parks, but the next time we go, if we go to all 4 parks, I probably will get the girls a Magic Bands, because it was a lot for me. I kept having to use my phone, then swipe to the correct person, use my phone again to make sure to scan everyone into the park, and then also to scan everyone into all of the rides. I had to take an extra battery pack every single day for my phone because it would drain my battery, and I would have to recharge every single day. Or every time we were at the park by like 3 o'clock, my battery was starting to get drained. I'd have to recharge it up. So those were the cons. Overall, we had a great trip. I think that the resort, for the money that you spend, it was totally worth it for the water park experience, and just to have a spacious room to be able to cook some of your meals in your suite was nice to save a little bit of money instead of always feeling like you have to have a reservation every single night for all the restaurants there. Again, we did not eat at any restaurant on Disney property except for the Rainforest Cafe at Animal Kingdom. I was so thankful that we were able to get in there. I did not have a reservation. We just waited like 20 minutes and we were able to get a table. The restaurants weren't as crowded either. I don't know. I don't know if it's because they limit the capacity to how many people can come into the parks, or people just aren't wanting to spend the extra money on top of everything else you're spending to go to Disney. So those are my thoughts on Disney. Like I said, leave a comment down below and let me know if you want me to go into detail about anything we talked about. If you want me to go into detail about the Grove Resort, if you want me to go into detail about Animal Kingdom, into detail about Genie Plus, Epcot, planning multi-generational trips, leave a comment down below and let me know. But that was our overall experience with Disney. I was just so happy to be able to get away after not going on vacation for several years. I know, first world problems. I get it. I just feel so blessed and thankful that we were all healthy enough to be able to go. God is good. So that is it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.